Welcome to All Things Eastern. I'm Jacob Lee, sitting in for Miss Patty Dobson. Tonight we have a special guest, Miss Audra Methvin. She graduates with a degree in music in May. This summer she's going to spend a month and a half in Austria at an opera camp. She's actually been, sought after a few prestigious music schools. So thank you for coming tonight, Audra.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a professional opera singer. I sing opera and classical music. I'm 26 years old. I've kind of hopped around from 4 different schools because I would get work and then move somewhere and then go to school wherever I was at and then move again. And so I've done professional work for a few years now, but settled at Eastern to finish my degree.
Wow. So what made you, stay in, like I said, do you like the town or?
It's close to family. My family's from Levelland, Texas.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That's where I grew up. So
great.
When I was in Colorado for 3 years and then needed to make a change, so I came here because it's close to family and it's better than tech.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, another question. Were you in a recent opera that was just, this weekend? It just finished up this week. What was it called again? I'm sorry.
Swore Angelica.
Swore Angelica.
Yeah.
It was great. I actually got to see it.
Oh, thanks.
I think I even saw you now that I think about it. And it was funny. There was one before that was kind of really touching. I mean, I went with a couple girls and they were like sitting beside me like crying. And I was just kind of like... and it was all in, what is it? Italian? Yes.
Yeah.
And I thought it was great. And
Thank
then
you.
the one even after that was funny and hilarious. So you had a big old mixed pot of emotions.
Right. And it's usually performed that way. The composer Puccini wrote them to be performed back to back, where you get the tragedy and the comedy. So
that was great. That was smart.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about like the whole opera scene? How did you feel during that show? Was it great or?
Oh, it was great. It was a big challenge for me because it's such a tragic character, because I was in the title role of Swore Angelica, and it covers a whole spectrum of vulnerable emotions that were new to me. I'm usually the ingenue or the flirty one on stage, so I got to be a little bit more deep or real.
So how did you, could you tell us a little bit about that character and how you had to prepare yourself in actual opera for people that don't know too much about the whole retrospect of it?
Sure. Well, the character was a nun who was forced to go into the convent because she had a child out of wedlock. Mm-hmm. And then her aunt comes to tell her after 7 years that her child died a few years back. So I don't have children, so I had to kind of just pull it out of thin air. But I just took my own life experiences, the deepest, darkest places I've been, and tried to translate it on stage. But I had to be very vulnerable. The lights are on you, and you're in tears, and the whole audience is privy to your every vulnerable emotion. So it was a long process.
It was great. The emotion, everything was there. You could feel it. Even, I couldn't really understand because I don't speak Italian, but even if you were just to sit there, you could automatically tell what you were feeling, what you were saying. So I thought that was great.
Did my job then.
Yeah, you did. So what inspired you to take the opera route, the singing route in general, the whole music scene?
It was in high school. I was a late bloomer compared to most I've met in the business. But I was, I guess, a junior in high school, and I did the Texas All-State Choir thing. And it's a very long, tedious audition process. Any Texas singer can tell you. But it just really inspired me, being on a stage and singing beautiful music. I knew it was where I was meant to be. I've never had any doubts whatsoever. It's it's my passion. It's my forte.
So what do you feel when you're on stage, especially in front of people with lights and just how do you come up with that emotion, that moment when you have that character or whatever you're singing?
It's very therapeutic. I don't ever notice the audience when I'm on stage. It's all black because all the lights are on you. So everything beyond the lights, beyond the stage is black. So I always have in mind that I'm entertaining, that I'm giving something of myself to the audience. And I guess it's the same as what some actors, film actors say. It's their art form, and it's giving something to people. It's sharing a part of yourself that not everybody's capable of doing, but I know I have the talent to sing and act, and it's like a gift. It's like I'm giving a gift, kind of.
Well, yeah, I think so too.
Not to sound diva-ish at all, but
So this whole Austria thing, you're spending a couple months or weeks there. How did that come about?
it was kind of a by accident thing. I was doing this competition in Texas, and part of the prize money was a scholarship to this program in Austria. And I didn't win the competition, but the people who own this company, who run it in Austria, thought I should have won and that I deserved the prize. So they said, you don't have to audition, you don't have to apply for anything, we want you to come. So
Wow.
Here you go. And they let me come. So it's for 6 weeks in Austria this summer.
Are you excited, or
I'm
what do you
so
feel? Are you
excited.
taking your camera, or?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you feel about being away, like so far from home? I know like you're in a little place called Portalis. I know when I got here, I even come from a small place, but I was like, wow, Portalis. So how do
Yeah.
you think you'll feel adapting and things like that?
Well, I've traveled around the country a bit with gigs. I go back and forth to New York for auditions
Oh, wow.
every year. And but I am leaving. I have a kitty that I'm gonna.
Oh, what's the kitty's name? Tell
His
me.
name's Han.
Oh.
His
Han.
brother's name is Luke.
Oh, just
Yeah,
cute.
'cause I'm a nerd. And I'm leaving.
Yeah.
My boyfriend has the other cat, but
Okay.
it'll be difficult because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna know anybody over there.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure you'll have fun.
Yeah, he'll keep me busy.
So, are you excited about schools? We talked a little bit before this about prestigious schools that have made offers for you. So, how do you feel about that? Especially, I guess, the future in music. How do you feel? Where do you see yourself?
It's definitely scary because, in this business, you never know where you're going to end up, where you're going
Yes.
to go, where you're meant to go. And in choosing a school for an opera singer, there's so many different things you have to look at. If you want to go for a teacher, if you want to go for a name school like Juilliard or Yale,
Yes.
if you want a certain atmosphere where they have just a few singers or 400 singers. And I looked at more of what the entire city offers because I also want to be close to an opera house,
Yes.
not only a school, and different other performing opportunities, symphonies, orchestras that can offer gigs for me. So I looked at a whole package deal of the school, the city, the opera house. So I'm really excited with the decision I made. I can't announce it or anything like that yet because
Yes.
nothing's signed, but it's exciting. It's scary, but it's
Yeah.
exciting.
So, would you say, like, with a smaller, group of singers, like you were saying, instead of 400, you would have like 10 or 20. Would you say it's more competitive in that sense?
I think it's just as competitive, but singers tend to get lost in a big program.
Mm-hmm.
Like IU at Indiana, they have, 800 majors, a lot of vocal majors. And they put on like 8 operas a year, but a lot of singers get lost there.
Yes.
And I think it would be more competitive there than it would be at a smaller school, but at a smaller school it's more intimate, you have more hands-on teaching from the professors and more opportunities,
Yeah.
to me at least. So
Oh, wow.
I had to weigh a lot of options.
I understand. So where do you see yourself in like 10 years or 5 years?
I see myself supporting myself singing opera and classical music all over the world. And I know I can do it. I know I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just a baby soprano, so I'm just
Oh, a
touching the
baby
iceberg.
soprano.
Yeah, I'm a baby
Yeah.
soprano.
Who are your, because I know a lot of artists, music, painting, all genres, have someone they looked up to. For instance, me, I had my brother, and he was something I was like, oh, I want to be just as good as him. Do you have someone in your life or in your musical career that you would say plays a big role in your musical career?
Not too much right now. I mean, there are several professional singers already in the business, very famous, that I aspire to emulate in
Yes.
some way or form.
Who would that be?
Well, a big controversy in the business is having family and career because there's so much travel involved. So it's rare that you hear of a successful opera singer that has the husband, the kids,
Yes.
and that it all works out. So there's not really a whole lot of role model in that certain aspect. So I hope to become that if I
Yes.
can for future singers.
So family and And
family and a career.
So you're making your own footsteps instead of following.
I'd like to think so.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never really got into opera. I've listened to tons of music, especially when I started playing guitar. It just opened up a big slew of, music for me. But I know there's one person that I thought you were gonna say was gonna be a big impact. He had like a little beard and his name was like Lucino or something like that?
Andre Bocelli.
No, he was famous. He was actually he always wore like a little towel and he's huge.
Luciano Pavarotti.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Every time he sings, I'm like.
Oh, he was just a freak of nature. He was amazing.
I never really understood like what made him so big. I know he did a lot of operas when he was younger. And then all of a sudden he like exploded. So how did that? What do you mean by that?
Well, he's a tenor, and just the ease with which he sang, it was just effortless. And he was rumored to have not been able to read music. He just, I guess, learned it by ear. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head. He just on stage, he evoked so much raw talent and emotion. And just nobody really has been able to touch it. He's just a legend.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much for coming to tonight's
Yeah.
show, and we appreciate it. Is there any last comments you'd like to say, or anyone that's inspiring to be an opera singer? What advice would you give them?
Just never give up, even with rejection.
Okay.
Just
Never.
all it takes is one person saying yes, and you'll make it.
Okay. Well, other than that, thank you so much for coming to All Things Eastern. We hope to see you in a huge Coliseum somewhere, and I can be like, well, I interviewed her.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. Thank you so much.